Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Myth Busting with myself, Darren Wake, and Ian Golding. So, this is where we take CX statements and we decide whether they're a myth or not. So, just to introduce myself, my name is Darren Wake. I'm head of customer success at CustomerSure, and my fantastic myth busting guest.
Is Ian Golding, Global Customer Experience Specialist.
Brilliant. Thanks again for joining us, Ian. And thank you everyone again for tuning in for another episode of Myth Busting. So just to repeat what we always say, that these are a complete surprise to Ian. So we spring these on him with no kind of prior warning as to what the myth or not may be when we get stuck into it. So here we go. So this one, here we are, is again, if I imagine me as my head of customer experience in an organization, Ian. Employee experience and employee satisfaction isn't my concern. It should be left purely to the HR team to deal with, and I shouldn't be involved in it.
Now, okay, now that's a question.
Mm,
Um, now, if you've watched these videos before, I usually come straight out and say myth or no myth.
yeah.
Um, this one needs a bit more explanation before I nail my flag to the mast, so to speak. Um, it's a very interesting question to ask people who are specifically in customer experience related roles,
Mm,
because traditionally, customer experience related roles did not have any specific scope to deal with the employee experience, is the first thing.
yeah.
Now, the second thing is, it is only in very, very recent times, roughly 6 years ago, maybe, that anyone even started to talk about employee experience, um, let alone that being a specifically a head of CX or a CX manager. Where it came from initially, as a term, I don't even know actually. Someone watching this may know who was the first person to specifically use the term. What we do know is that employee experience, whether it was stated or unstated, has always been seen of huge significance to certain industries, specifically the hospitality industry, hotels.
Yeah.
The Ritz-Carlton are famous for ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. Richard Branson has always been famous for saying that it should be about people for employee first, not customer first. So it's like an unstated thing. But in 2025, employee experience has still not really been officially defined by anyone. That there are interpretations about it out there, but you won't find an employee experience association or a sort of a governing body
Mm,
for employee experience professionals. So it is still very misunderstood. There are many around the world who do believe that employee experience is the domain of HR. Now, that typically tends to be HR professionals. And again, people, please disagree with me if I'm wrong. This is based on what I've seen. HR professionals who have concluded that employee experience is their domain. However, what I've seen in practice is that most HR functions who are focusing on employee experience are only focusing on onboarding of new employees. Now, onboarding is a term that I despise anyway,
yes.
because employees don't say, I've just been onboarded in the same way that customers don't say that. But even if we were to utilize that term, onboarding is only one stage of an employee experience. If experience is not just one stage, it's about the end-to-end
Yeah.
experience, the end-to-end journey. Thinking about getting a job, getting the job,
Yeah.
joining the company, experiencing the company, and then ultimately leaving. It's the whole thing. Okay. So now, is it HR that are accountable for all of that? Or is it multiple functions that are accountable for all of that? There is no answer. No one's answered it yet. And so, coming back to your question, is this something that customer experience professionals should have nothing to do with? Well, that actually is a myth.
Mm.
I believe that all customer experience professionals need to have an understanding of how the employee experience is impacting the customer experience. That doesn't necessarily mean that customer experience professionals are responsible
Mm.
for the employee experience or the methodology that an organization chooses to adopt, but they have to understand it
Yeah.
because you cannot deliver the customer experience without the colleague. You can't do it. They're both completely aligned. A customer experience strategy, in my opinion, should contain an element of the employee experience in it because you cannot give the business what it wants or the customer what it wants without the employee. Certain competencies that are pivotal to customer experience, like culture, is all about the colleague and the way the colleague is interacting within the organization, with each other, and with the external customer. They are inextricably linked.
Mm.
So, any customer experience professional that says that employee experience is not of my concern, that is a myth.
Mm.
It has to be something that you have an interest in.
Mm.
How close to it you become depends, very much depends. If you're working in an organization that's not even talking about it yet, this may well be an opportunity for you to start changing the language within
Yeah.
the organization, starting to get people to open their eyes to the reality of needing to know if the employee experience is aligned with the customer experience. If you're in an organization where HR are owning it, but they are only looking at part of it, then again, you've got an opportunity to start a dialogue with them.
Yes.
We
Mm.
articulate that, that's only part of it. We need to understand the whole thing.
Hey, sorry for interrupting the video, but I'll be quick. Now, is your VoC program really making an impact, or are hidden gaps really holding you back? Take our free VoC maturity assessment to get instant insights and actions to improve your VoC program. It only takes 5 minutes and you'll be closer to take your VoC program to the next level. Click the first comment to find out more. Now, let's get back to the video.
Should you make a play to be responsible for it? Again, that's a different matter, but I think should we be, as customer experience professionals, the catalyst to even having that conversation? Yes. So the other thing I think, just to add to this, is we're moving into a different phase. Customer experience is all about evolution. You know, 2020, sorry, the year 2000, customer experience wasn't a thing. 2010, there were many people with customer experience job titles, but it wasn't a thing. 2011, it became a thing,
Yeah.
where it was a formally defined. So we're now in 2025. Customer experience has been formally defined for a while. We're now at a point where employee experience was talked about in 2019 ish, but it's still not really a thing. In 2025, it's still not really a thing. However, what has become a thing is a growing wave of people talking not about customer experience, not about employee experience, but experience management.
Mm.
And I think this is the critical change. Going forward, you will hear more and more people talking about experience management because experience management encompasses everything. It
Yes. Yeah.
encompasses both the customer and the employee. And I think we have an opportunity right now as a more established discipline to help people understand what experience management means. And if you don't mind me doing so, I'm going to name check something,
Please
Darren.
do.
I am a big advocate of this book.
Right.
Experience Rules, written by a colleague of mine, Diane Majors, and a good friend
Yes.
of mine, Michael Hinshaw.
Yeah, I know Diane. Yes, in the
Now,
States, she's
the
great.
reason I share this
Yeah.
is they have created a new framework that is known as the Experience Operating System.
Okay.
Note, there's no customer in front of that. There's no employee in front of that. It is the Experience Operating System. I don't know if I can find an image of it in here. If not, people can go. Oh, hang on. Where is it? There it is. I thought I saw it. People can go and find this online. I know it's not great to see this on the camera,
Oh, it's okay.
but don't worry about all of the words around it. But the reason I wanted to share it with you, these segments are different elements of the operating system.
Interesting. Yes.
Culture to strategy, alignment and accountability, process, technology, and so on. But it's the middle I wanted to point out. In the middle is the human.
Hmm.
Okay. The human being, both the customer and the colleague. And I think this is the new way, that this is the next generation of the way we need to be thinking about and managing experiences. We cannot focus on just customer alone. We've got to think about the harmony between customer and employee. That doesn't mean, as I keep saying, we own it.
Hmm.
Experienced professionals, if I use the term experienced professional, we are there to define methodology. We are there to guide the business in adopting the right techniques, the right capabilities to achieve our strategic goals. And so, coming back to your original question, is it a myth that this should not concern us? Yes, it is a myth. We need to concern ourselves with this and ensure that the organization is putting the right framework in place to drive tangible, measurable change, ultimately to the customer experience. But that cannot be done without the employee experience.
Hmm.
Does that all make sense?
It does. It does. Some really great points there, Ian, and I must check out that book actually. So I've spoke to Diane a few times, but that looks really interesting. Yeah, I agree with all of that. Just to add one point, I've worked with a couple of organisations where I've encouraged the CX team to get access to the insights and the reports from things like the employee engagement, employee experience program. If you like, there's some fascinating things that you can get access to in there without,
Absolutely.
getting into the confidential stuff. But things like staff are really good at talking about things like empowerment. They've got tools to do the job, and if staff members are saying that they don't feel empowered or they don't have the tools, those are things for many employees, particularly those at the coalface, who have a greater impact on the customer experience. They just don't have the the tools or whatever to do the job. So therefore,
Absolutely.
that hinders your ability as a CX team to make things better for customers. So there's some real things that I'd encourage all CX teams to say. I agree with what you said. If there isn't an employee experience program,
Yeah.
then see it as an opportunity to encourage the companies to have one. And if they do, then you should really have access to some of those insights and data because
Absolutely. And it isn't necessarily about a program.
mm,
It's more about awareness.
yeah,
And, I talk a lot about customers having random experiences. They never quite know what's going to happen, but so do colleagues. And it depends who your boss is as to what the experience is going to be.
yeah,
But all that means is that you're not going to be in a position to consistently deliver the experience the customer wants. So we really need to hold the spotlight up to this. And as I say, it's about positioning, it's about articulation, and it's about education. And we need to educate organizations that this is not a parochial thing. This is not a land grab, but ultimately the objective is to drive sustainable growth in an
yeah,
organization. That's what we want to do. You cannot do that without your colleagues. You cannot do that without your customers. So we need to bring them both together.
yeah. No, that's great. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ian. Another
Always a pleasure.
missed address there. Hope everyone is enjoying this series. So we've done quite a number of these episodes now. You'll find them all on LinkedIn and our YouTube channel as well. Do get involved. We love your kind of comments and observations. And if you agree, disagree with what what myself and Ian are saying, please do get involved. And also, if you have other points that you'd like to talk about in future episodes, please please share those
Absolutely.
thoughts with us as well. Just to conclude, thank you very much once again, Ian, for joining me.
Such a
It's
pleasure,
always a
Darren.
pleasure. Yeah, much appreciated. And thank
No.
you all for watching and contributing. Thanks again. Thanks, Ian. Cheers. Bye bye.